Yes, folks, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. This weekend's grand opening of Parlay Restaurants and Sports, located in Jing'an, Shangkang-li, your new favorite spot for barbecue, burgers, and so much more. Come out to watch all your favorite sporting events. Enjoy brunches weekends starting at 11 on our terrace. Test your skill at darts, pool, and golden tea, an icon bar classic. 9 beers on draft, the freshest barbecue cooked daily, and so much more. This Saturday, starting at 5 p.m., followed by our first brunch Sunday at 11. Parlay, we have you covered from kickoff to last call.
Katy, I wanted to ask you about how you prepare for a show the night before or the day of. Tell us how, because you have a big family now. So how are you preparing for show day?
So preparation is actually quite extensive in our house because we have 3 kids, and it's not just like one of us is a big fan. We're both big fans, my husband and myself. So we have 2 kids, 2 girls that are 8 and 6 who are in school and competitive sports. And then we now have the baby who is 8 months old, who I was pregnant with all last year. So that was kind of fun. But so we have to arrange everything from who picks them up and takes them to school, where they're going to sleep, what sports they have that day, what outfits they have to wear, the odd chance there's some team event or a birthday party or competition. There's just all these crazy things. So thankfully we have Chris's parents who live on the same street as us. We purposely moved to Chicago to be with them because he's an airline pilot, as I've mentioned before. So he's gone a lot, and I'm alone a lot of the time. So it's really hard coordinate a lot of things. So we moved here to be with his family. So thankfully his mom and dad watched the girls. And so far we've only had the Chicago show since having the baby. So we had to hire a babysitter for that both days, which is pretty costly, or it can be, because obviously we go pretty early. We have the I Disappear pass for last year, but we did not for Chicago. We paid for moth tickets, so we were in the snake pit for both Chicago shows. So obviously you want to get there early and try to get as close as possible. I'm not super intense with that anymore like I used to be, but we kind of have a crew. So we call ourselves the Tower 5 crew. If you're not in the snake pit. So we met a group of people whom I think you guys all know who they are. It's Green Hat Ken, or Ken Mankowski, and Zach, Mark, and all those guys. And we met them in New Jersey last year. So with this particular stage setup, a lot of people have the opportunity to get pretty close. But because I was pregnant last year, I obviously couldn't be like in it, like on the rail, so we met them in New Jersey night 1 in the front of the tower of Tower 5. So we had nobody pushing us from behind. So every show we coordinate, okay, who's going to go to the tower? And sometimes we'd flip. We would go like James's side and then Kirk's side. We would alternate, but typically we were on Tower 5 or Tower 1. And so we would plan like either the day before or the night before. or the day of, like, okay, you're gonna go to the tower. I'm gonna run to this booth to try to get a poster, or I'm gonna go to this. You're
Oh
gonna go
my
to this booth
God.
to try to get a poster. You know, the whole poster T-shirt thing. I just needed to get to the tower with a hot dog or a pretzel, so I wouldn't barf all over the place. But it's like a running joke. So we're the Tower 5 crew, and I have a hot dog at every stadium. It's like a thing now. So if there's a show that there's no hot dog, it's pretty weird for me. But so it's a lot with the kids, and then trying to figure out who's going to the tower. You know, obviously we have different circumstances if we have like snake pit or something, but
It was so cute, Katie. I asked one of your daughters when I was there in Chicago. So what's happening this weekend? Oh, it's Metallica weekend. Oh, that's cool. So what happens
so
with
cute.
Metallica? What happens with Metallica weekend? Mommy and Daddy, they go to Metallica, and then we go to our grandparents. It's so cool. It's so much fun. I love going to my grandparents. I was like, what a cool way to. That's so cute.
It is very cute.
It's just great how you're still able to do it even with a family of 3. I mean, it's just incredible. And Camila as well, you always beat me to the show regardless. I don't care what show it's been. You're always in front of me in the line. So what's your schedule? Yes, every show.
every show.
You're at the
Oh,
front.
man.
You're at the front.
Yeah.
So you really prepare in advance as well. So how are you doing this?
You know, it's so funny because I am listening to V and Katie, and as they speak, I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so stressful, right? Like, especially Katie and managing with kids and babysitters and, you know, having to coordinate, you know, having the husband at home because he's a pilot, so he may or not be, you know, and oh my God, it's so many logistics. However, you know, I do get
You
pretty
have your
stressed.
own. You have your own logistics, though. That stress me out.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. Like, I am guilty as charged, you know, like I am fucking, when Metallica are doing these weekends now, which I hate. I don't really love being in a place for so long. Like V was saying, it's more
Hard.
money. It feels more expensive
Yeah.
because the town blows up and everything is like twice more expensive than what it normally would be.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I don't really enjoy that. However, in saying that, it is nice to not having to catch a flight after the first show and move places. That's the only thing that I kind of appreciate, really. Because if they're playing in a shit town, and not disrespect, right, but like Arlington, guys, seriously, or like LA, you know, it's like there's so much that you can do, get in a car, rent, drive off, you know, and do things. But like, I think some of the cities that they're playing next year are more attractive for me, at least. You know, Nashville is massive, great music town, great place to be. You know, Chicago was a great town, nothing to say. You know, and so on. The point is, depending on if I arrive on the Thursday, which I normally do, I travel from Australia on the Thursday. I arrive there on the Thursday, and I am extremely jet lagged. And that
That's
first show is
intense.
always a nightmare. The first show is always so hard. I am like tired, fatigued. I don't know what I'm eating, if I'm eating breakfast or dinner. I don't know what I feel like. And it takes me a while to sort of be okay. So whatever I do, it doesn't matter. That first show is shit. So my lack of sleep for the first show, plus the anxiety, I'm normally up at 6 a.m. Just my brain just wakes me up. It's like, it's show day. What are you doing in bed? Get going, you know? And so I am really bad. And, you know, I am really bad. I can just go without eating anything and I'll just see what's around. And on top of all
Oh my
things, right,
gosh.
I'm vegan. And in America,
Oh,
this is
no.
not easy. Yeah. Love the reaction.
Oh,
Thank you.
shoot.
Yes, it's not easy. It's not easy. And it's something like, if I find a Subway nearby, that'll do me. That'll be just fine. I'll just grab a foot long, pack it with veg, and have one half and then the other half later. And then, you know, have a lot of water and like Gatorade, because I'm mostly always dehydrated because I've been on a plane forever. And then here I am lining up for a show. And I just feel wrong. That first show always feels so like, oh, I can't be bothered with anything, you know. And people ask me like, have you eaten? Like, have you drinking enough water? And I'm like, oh, I'm okay. Just, let me chill. And I'll just find my people in line, and talk shit and try to not worry about how long we have till the doors. And now with the I Disappear ticket, we've done so many things to make the rail work for us. And I don't really want to get into detail of all the things I had to do this last 2 years to make the rail work every time. I got in a fist fight with someone in Detroit last year. It got pretty
really?
nice. Yeah, it was not nice.
Oh
I
my
got hit
gosh.
by a drunk man, and they removed me, not him. And he
At the
was the one
show?
that hit me. Yeah, this was in Detroit at the rail. And this is when we just came in, and it was like, oh
Did you
man,
get back in?
it's just, I really don't like talking about it, but I'll talk about it because, I think it's a safe space and you guys will understand. Sometimes I feel like if I talk to people about this, they don't really get the point, So with the I Disappear, we are, the diehard fans that follow the band around. We get second priority early entry, which to me is shit. Fine, it's business.
I agree.
And I get the business
agree.
side.
Yeah.
I think everyone that buys the Disappear ticket that's been a dedicated fan will agree with the fact that we should not be going in second. But if you look at the
Yeah.
money side of things, it kind of makes
Sure.
sense. Yet again, what is this about? Are you trying to help us out? If you're gonna help us out, just go all in. If you
Yeah.
limit the amount of black tickets to 250 again, you will still make heaps of money with frantic ticket holders and all the other million experiences that they have for sale. I don't really want to go
so many
into the detail of the business side of it, but you get what I'm saying. So I got a friend that's holding the rail for me, a friend from Mexico that only went to this show, to this weekend in Detroit, and he's a big dude, so he has plenty of room around him, and he had this big guy behind him who was a frantic person. And my friend is Frank, so I told Frank, we should go to Kirk to because James side is rather intense. People get very protective of that place, and it's not that great, it's good, but Kirk's is maybe as good. It's the same vantage point, and you get drum kits here and there. It's same logistic, just mirror, And he's like, but I love James, and this is my only show, and I'm like, okay. You go there and just, try to stay as wide as you can, and I will eventually get there. And this is the point of the tour where, the people that organize the lines, and they've had enough of us. They had enough of us trying to cut lines. Oh, I got a friend here. Oh, what are you doing? And this was like the boiling point of all that tension in the line and all that bullshit that goes on. And I was like, I'm not going to play any games. I'm just going to go in when I'm supposed to go in. And I get there, and then my friend makes space for me. And there's clearly a space for me, The problem was that...
Yeah, you're little tiny.
Yeah, the problem was that when I got in, then a few other people sort of pushed in too. And then there was this frantic guy behind me. He was highly intoxicated. He was already drunk. He's been in the, he's been drinking. You get free drinks and stuff. And he gets all violent with me. And I'm like, what? Why with me? Right? There's other boys that just pushed in just like I did, with the difference that I had a friend making room for me. So if he was never front row in the first place, why do you get so protective of me stepping in front of you? And I'm clearly shorter than you, and someone's making room for me. So what is your problem? And then he was like, started cursing and saying all these things oh, you motherfuckers, I pay this much money, I'm a frantic ticket holder, you pay fuck all, and here you are, and you just jump in front of me. And he started elbowing me down, and I was like, bro, what the fuck? And then my friend stepped in, and then he got very crazy there. And while I'm getting abused by this guy, I have local security right in front of us watching everything. And I'm looking at him, you just gotta do something about this guy and he kept doing this to me, just come down, things are gonna come down. Bro, he's hitting me. And then he stopped, but he had his shoulder elbow on me the entire time. He was a big guy, and I was like, this is not gonna end well. I'm very uncomfortable. And if these guys don't do something now, this is going to end up really, really bad. So here I am thinking all these things.
Crazy.
And he just goes again, but 10 times harder. And in one of them, he hit me here on the chin and I bit my lip. So I'm now bleeding. This is great. And security comes behind him and grabbed him and took him. And I'm bleeding. I'm already off everything. I just want to go home and cry because I feel vulnerable as a person. I feel like no one's done anything to protect me, even though I had plenty of people in front of me witnessing everything, And then I can hear him as he gets taken away. I can hear him go on about how much he's paid and what we, the disappearers, are doing to him and to his rights. And this is America and I have rights. And he went on that fucking, story. And then I'm looking down and then someone taps me on my shoulder and it's security, local security. And they go, ma'am, please. And I'm like, oh no, fuck off. Honestly, get fucked. No. It's it's not happening. And they're like, man, please. And I was like, are you serious? Are you serious? Are you actually serious? You were witnessing the whole thing. How are you taking me? Because he was here first. And I was like, so that's your logic. However, he abused me in front of you. And because he was here first, what's your logic with that? And he was like, man, please. And really, insisted to the point where it gave me no choice. So I had to give the rail up. And I'm bleeding. And then this guy gets put back in there on the rail, escorted to the rail. So you can have your piece of rail. Fuck this girl off. And everyone else that jumped in with me stayed on the rail. So it was just me, just personal with me.
Wow.
That's insane.
And then I just started crying, obviously. And then I just, fucking lost it. I lost it. And then I ran into a Metallica security, one of the new guys. And I was like,
right.
I'll just give it a crack. I said, hey, man, this happened. And I was in tears, shaking, as you can be, shocked still to everything. And I explained what happened, how they witnessed the abuse and they didn't do anything. And I told him, you have seen me lining up early, every show on this tour.
Yeah.
You escort us to the rail every night. I've been here doing this for this long and yada, yada, yada. So what makes you think that I will be the one doing the wrong thing? And, and he says, well, I didn't see it, so I can't do anything. And I was like, what? Aren't you supposed to be here for us, the fans, too? You're not only looking over the band, you're also looking over us. That's your job. That's your job description. And he was like, yeah, but I didn't see it, so I can't just go, and take the dude away when I didn't see it. I'm like, well, I got witnesses, right? Can you just listen to what I'm saying? And he searched his pocket and got a pic of the day, and he gave me the pic. And I was like, well, fuck this, man. This is not do things right, And I felt so overcome with rage and hate. And all I wanted to do was really go home. So I sat at one of the towers. I sat at one of the towers for maybe an hour and a half of only just crying and being miserable. And so many people that just know me walk past and check if I was okay. And then I just couldn't really verbalize what had just happened because I was still very shocked. I couldn't believe that, they abused me, hit me. I was bleeding physically. You could see it. And no one did anything. And I felt very, very frustrated, very, very frustrated. And then I thought about texting one of the head securities that had known me for all these years, and they would have made it right straight away. But because they're so busy with the band backstage, I just didn't want to be that, crying baby fan that something bad just happened and I just went and looking for aid for someone to help me and whatnot, So eventually that night, long story short, I ended up in the snake pit. Point being, I just had a horrible time the entire show. It was not a nice show. It was a show that I would probably put in the top 3 of worst shows ever, only because I was thrown off from the moment I went in there, And when you travel all this way, that's really the last thing you want to happen. And it was so sad. It was there's nothing I can do to change my mood. I was just done. Yeah. And thank God that was a one-off but it's probably things that should not happen. And I think the experiences and all these ways that they're selling tickets to us now, it's splitting us apart at the worst possible way, you know. Like, we should, all these Metallica family things, sometimes when it comes to the line is so hostile. It is really every man for himself. And if you can't deal with that, then good luck, because it gets pretty bad sometimes.
Did you get to do the book signing in Detroit, though? Did you get to do that?
I did the St. Louis one.
Oh, you did the St. Louis one? Okay. I was going to say,
did
hopefully you got to do the Detroit one.
Detroit one
made it.
Was without +1, I believe. St. Louis had a +1, which was odd as fuck, because here's the person that bought the package and they have the book, and then you walk next to them just to handshake James, basically. Like, hi, I love you, bye. You know, that was all it was.
The Detroit one was decent. I got to do the Detroit one.
Me too. You bought the book. So you just bought the book, and then
so my husband. So my husband did it in St. Louis. I actually had to stay home because of a cheer competition for night one.
Oh.
The cheer comp was the morning, like that Saturday morning, so I couldn't make it back in time.
Yeah.
But so my husband did the book signing in St. Louis, and I did the one in Detroit. So the one in Detroit, you could take a +1, but they couldn't come up.
Yeah, that's right. Something like that, yeah.
But they could film your experience, which was great. So I have
that is cool.
My husband filmed my experience, which was great. I was just hoping, because of the shitty experience you had, that you at least got to do that in Detroit. I was hoping that would have been a little bit better for you.
And for you, V, have you had any experience like that in the mosh pit, being female?
Yes, there was a couple of times where I was in the snake pit, and a couple of the guys just and I think it was Jersey when I was in the snake pit, because I had an experience, the enhanced experience that weekend. And I mean, people were punching each other. They took out a girl the first night. She had knocked out a tooth, had a tooth knocked out in the mosh pit. You know, they were going around, and they were just, because it was the first show, right, in the US.
Yeah.
So everyone was just really, the energy was off the charts. I know I was with Wendy. We were against, you know, a high point of the wall in the snake pit. So
with the yellow,
I was hanging on for dear life on the wall, you know, underneath the microphone, just saying, okay, don't smash me. But yeah, I couldn't even get near the mosh pit. However, the mosh pit was pushing all the people into us, and I was getting smashed into the, you know, the stage wall. There are guys who are clearly not part of Legacy or the fan club or whatever. They just get it, you know, they buy their way in to the stage pit. They do this whole mosh. Yeah, and they don't have very much respect for who's standing around. I think the men who were standing around me in the snake pit, who were Met fam, tried to protect me, and were totally great. But some of these other folks, just like what you said, Camila, they're, you know, I paid for this, and, you know, and then they get this
just
attitude.
Entitlement.
You know?
It
is entitlement. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. My last show, I went to Madrid this year, and it was the last show of the Europe tour.
Oh, that show was so good.
One of my favorites. Anyway, we're all talking about people getting hurt and getting in the mosh pits. The guy and the girl that was standing next to me, they played Nothing Else Matters. And the guy, out of his pocket, got the ring, got on one knee, and proposed in the mosh pit, in the front row. And while Nothing Else Matters, she was totally blown away by it. She didn't know it was happening. That was pretty rough in that, and he just did it anyway. Got down. Everyone around that had like tears in their eyes, and it was just a once in a. I've never seen that before. It was just incredible. What do you think about that girl?
Sounds cool.
That's my wedding
That is
song.
cool.
I walked down the aisle to Nothing Else Matters.
Oh, cute.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So when I
So
hear it,
when
I think of that.
Do you have a song, V, that sticks in your mind? Whom the Bell Tolls, right?
Well, that was back then.
Right. All right. Okay.
It just really
Let's-
depends on my mood. And but the one song, okay. So when I first started listening to the CDs, there were certain songs that I would skip over, way back, 20, 30 years ago. I would skip over some of the songs. One of them was Dyer's Eve, and I don't know why I ever skipped
Oh my
over it,
God.
but I know. Probably because it was the last song, and by then I was, like at my destination. I was taking the CD out of my car or whatever. And
fair enough.
one day, I was in the yard, and I was just playing. I guess I was doing yard work, and then that came on, and I thought, how the heck did I miss this song? Like what? And so and I've seen it twice live. And the first time I saw it, oh my God, I had tears in my eyes, because I think that would be my all-time favorite song. And, I always
Wow.
hate to say and admit that I never really listened to it, like a full CD. Back in the day, you're always, you don't have much time. You're at work. You're only taking 10 minutes to go to a job, commute, blah, blah, blah. And so you're only listening to like the hits, right? Whatever. Anyway, yeah. So Dyer's Eve would be the song for me.
I don't think Lars will be able to play it anymore.
No way.
There's a lot of
Super hard, that song.
There's a lot of double kick in that song. And Camila, you've seen him a bunch of times. What's one of your songs that you just always go to?
I really like a lot of Load and Reload for a change, because they don't really play much of that. It's been nice in these last 2 years. They brought back Sleeps, and I think before that they did Bleeding Me, Outlaw for S&M2, and that. I love those songs. I love those songs so much. And something that is really cool is that for my first meet and greet in 2012, when I had the chance to talk to James properly for the first time, I had done like a little magazine of my artwork, because I am now a designer, but at the time I didn't know I was going to be that, because I was still a kid. I am now a qualified designer, but back then I put together like all my crafty Metallica artwork that I've done when I was young and stuff, put it into a magazine, and then I had one page of maybe 8 or 9 songs that I wish, in my lifetime that I could hear once. And recently I revisited that magazine, and I've listened to all of them. And Fixer being number 1 in that list, I never thought I would get Fixer until the 40th, which was fucking surreal moment, and
Oh, sorry,
40th?
did you all go to the 40th?
Yes.
Did you all go to Symphony 2? Symphony 2?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like you. I don't like you anymore.
my 40th story is insane, actually. So I went to night 1, was phenomenal, and then I went to wedding band that night.
oh,
Did any of
crazy.
you?
Oh
Did
yeah.
any of you go? Okay,
Yeah.
so I went to wedding band. Oh, it was awesome. So I went to wedding
It
band
was
that night.
awesome. Yeah.
And then we didn't get home till like 4 a.m. or something. It was insane. But
It's so cold.
it was so freezing in the venue.
Yeah,
Oh my
it was
gosh. It's the
Yeah.
coldest place I've ever been. The Fillmore, yeah, it's just a
Uh-huh.
small little
Oh,
venue.
okay.
But it like was pumping cold air, and it was cold outside.
Yeah, right.
So
It was
weird.
freaking cold outside. Yeah.
Freezing. So you were
Yeah.
freezing inside, you left and you were freezing. But so we got home at like 4 a.m. when I finally fell asleep. And then all of a sudden I wake up at like 6 and I'm hurting. Like my entire body is like crippling with pain.
Oh,
And
no.
I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, maybe I'm just cold. Like, I don't know. And then I think I woke up at like 8 a.m. and I was freezing. And my body hurt, like I got hit by a truck, and I
You got
looked
the
at
vid?
Chris. I got COVID. This was 21. So this was
Oh.
December.
I got the vid for the first time after the 40th, so you may have been the one that fucked me over.
Oh my God,
Well,
dude.
we all had to
It
wear
was
masks.
so bad.
Yeah.
It was so bad. So I didn't get to go to the second night. And
No.
no.
Hey.
I streamed it on
way.
Hulu. I streamed it on Hulu.
Oh no.
My husband was like, I'm going. Like, I don't give
Yeah,
a shit.
for
Like,
sure.
I'm
I would have been
going.
your husband.
Yeah. So he was fine. He didn't have any symptoms. He's fine. So he went. Obviously, they played some really cool stuff, and I streamed it, and the fire alarms went off, and I'm like,
Yes.
this is crazy.
Yeah, what
So I
the
missed
fuck
night.
was that? Oh
Dude,
my
I don't know.
god.
So I
Yeah.
was kind of hoping that was legit, and they were gonna be like, okay, sorry, everybody out, and I didn't miss anything. But no, I missed it, and that really sucked. But and so crazy enough, I was so sick. I ended up being like really, really sick. We had to drive back from San Francisco to Chicago.
Drive, so you didn't have to fly.
I couldn't fly. I had to wait
Your
can't
ears.
fly.
2 weeks, right? So
yeah,
it was either drive
Right.
home or sit in a hotel for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
It was just
correct.
not. I mean, it was
Damn.
not feasible. So and there was like a snowstorm. The
Fuck.
typical way that you would go from San Francisco to Chicago. So we had to go all the way down to the bottom, take I-40 through Phoenix, and then all the way back through Oklahoma, and then back up.
Oh my
Took
god.
took 3 days.
Well,
Chris never got COVID in the car with me, in the hotel with nothing. I
wow.
mean, dude, it was like the craziest. I will never forget that in my life.
Because that was a
We
that was
were-
a very bad infection. I remember I tested.
Oh, I was so sick. I was so sick. I had to go to
we had
ER
to
on the way
test.
home.
Oh my god. We had
Yeah,
to
it was
test
bad.
before flying back because I was flying back to Australia, and because at the time there were not a lot of flights to Australia, I had to go through the Middle East, which was mad. So from San Francisco to Qatar, and then Qatar to
Oh my
home.
gosh.
And then when I finally landed in Adelaide, we had to line up to get tested, and I
Oh,
sure
no.
enough tested positive. But there, because when I
Oh,
tested in San
no.
Francisco to get on the plane, I was still negative by miracle. Because imagine if I was positive, I wouldn't have been able to get on my flight. Leave aside paying for a change of flight, and then a week of accommodation in San Francisco or something. Oh my god,
Right.
like. You got fucked so quickly compared to a
Yeah.
bunch of us. Like for my group, everyone like 2 days after the second night, 3 days, everyone started positive.
Yeah,
And we're like,
that's how it
"Fuck."
was for all my friends too. They were fine. It was like 2 days after the second night. So I must have been like ground zero.
Yeah, it must have been. I was like, oh
Dude.
my god, that's so unlucky. But the
It sucked.
pain, the
It
body
sucked so
ache
bad.
is something I've never
Oh.
felt before. It was so bad.
So not only that, but it was the worst body aches I've ever had.
Yeah, they were bad.
I didn't have like a cough or like any of that stuff, but for about a month afterwards, I would have numbness in my face. I was having
Wow.
like tingling in my
Wow.
hands.
Wow.
My heart rate was skyrocketing. It'd be like 180 when I would get up to walk to the bathroom, and then like sitting, it was like 120. My oxygen was kind of up and down. I never dropped below the 90s, but it would get like into 91, 92. And when we were driving through Flagstaff, like Arizona, you're up in higher elevations, so your
Oh.
oxygen kind of depletes a little bit on its own. Chris had to take me to the ER. Like it was insane. Like it was the
my
worst. It was the worst. It was the worst.
Would you agree that, when you are, for me, when I think about the 40th, I think about 2 spectacular nights, unreal songs, set list, whatever, but then you get sick right after, and then you can't really unwind properly. I was like almost forgetting how good I was feeling days previously to feeling so bad. And that sort of got in the way of my overall experience over there, because I had to fly home just
Yeah.
about sick, not quite, but when I landed is when everything hit me, really.
But see, now I can't even really remember like the first night, and like how incredible it was because
Yeah, because it's
Because of
overshadowed
just-
by how bad you felt the following day.
right. Right.
Yeah.
I do remember Wedding Band being exceptionally awesome because I was like,
They were great.
for 40th, you guys, we were way up. I mean, like way up. It was so hard to get tickets to that show. And we
Yeah.
were like way up
Did
there.
any-
So it was
did
so it was not a fun experience as far as like what I'm used to, you know?
Mm.
So then we
Oh,
had
I was
Wedding
on
Band
the
that
floor.
night. And I was on the, I was like on the rail right in front of Kirk the whole night at Wedding Band. So it was like,
This is good.
Was
Yeah.
anybody there? Was anybody there for the 30th anniversary shows?
No, I wasn't. Underage.
no. That's
Oh.
my husband's like biggest regret. That's like his biggest regret is Chris is not going to that show. But
Yeah,
I got to go
for
to
sure.
Metro. I got to go to
Alright,
Metro
that's,
Chicago.
that's something that I'll never forget. There was only it was at the Fillmore, was in San Francisco, so
Yeah.
there was only a certain
Same.
amount of people that could go.
Right.
It was
Right.
Dave Mustaine, it was Jason Newsted, it was Ozzy Osbourne, and every like I think they did 18 songs at that stage,
Yeah.
and the only song that they didn't they played the same night was Seek and Destroy. Every other song was new. So
A real no repeat.
that'll
Awesome.
that's the real no repeat.
That's
So
the
that'll
real
never
deal.
happen again.
Yeah.
Never
for sure.
happen. Can't see that
Yeah,
ever
for
happening
sure.
again.
Yeah,
But
we were
the
talking about
40th,
that.
I'm
About in
jealous.
Mexico, and hopefully
they
getting
had
the
to do
variety,
something
but
different.
that didn't happen.
they had to do something different. Yeah, that was interesting. Did you go to Mexico?
Yeah, we were.
No?
Well, I think my expectations were bad. Then, like they were not gonna do 4 different sets. I thought at the beginning of the tour that would be
Yeah.
the night where they would go all out and do 4 different sets because they're only playing 16 songs.
Same city, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought
I
they were
just
gonna be
assumed
that
like
they were-
brave.
I had heard that they
Hmm.
might do a couple different songs, but I heard for the most part I had heard that it was pretty much going to be the same.
It was so average,
Yeah.
set list wise. I
Mhm.
mean, nothing really fantastic. Like people were saying, oh, you have to go to Mexico, otherwise you're gonna be missing out so much. And it was like, not really. Like if you went to Chicago, which apparently was a great show in North America this year, or if you went to
Chicago is
Seattle,
amazing.
which was
Yeah.
great as well.
Yes.
Minneapolis, I thought it was a fantastic show. You know, I guess it's the same. You know, it's a different vibe, obviously, because the Mexican crowd is louder. But that's about
Yeah.
Oh my
it.
gosh, the videos of those people that looked insane.
Yeah.
Amazing.
hardcore.
It looked
Like
packed,
insane.
right?
Yeah.
It was
Well,
good.
even
I
for
have
ice,
videos
like even for
from the
ice,
platform of
but
just
even for
heads.
Ice Nine Kills,
Oh
like
yeah,
even for Ice Nine Kills, it was
Yeah.
packed.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I've seen Ice Nine Kills yesterday in Adelaide. They were amazing.
Oh,
Yeah. I've just seen
very
them here
cool.
like 10 minutes from home. So I walked there almost. They dropped me off
That's
because I was
awesome.
running late. Yeah, it was awesome. And they killed it. You know, they really had a crowd for
they-
them here.
Yeah, they need an indoor show.
For sure.
Those
It
guys
was so good.
outside, it just doesn't have that same effect. Like
Yeah.
stabbing people,
You-
chainsaws, and yeah.
do you guys like
You
this
might-
stage setup or how do you have a preference for in stage with like the classic snake pit, or do you like this stage?
I think
That's
the
what I was
classic
gonna
snake
say
pit can be
about-
unbeaten.
That's
don't
what I
think
was
you
going
can
to say
beat
about
that.
your story, Camilla. I was going to say that you're fighting for the one spot. I mean, the railing's 120 meters long, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't they just move somewhere else, like these guys, or do you have to be in that spot in the middle? I mean,
No, like
lots of
it
opportunities.
changed for me. Like Katie was asking which one's better, and I think the OG one is better for sure. Like the problem with this stage, you know, Snape it's great, but I've grown to love
It's
it. 'Cause
so big.
I've grown to like it, you know, because at the beginning I was like, oh, this is too big, you guys. Like you went all out, and like V was saying when she had a mosh pit, she was holding on for dear life, and we're in the snake pit. It's supposed to be a safe zone, you know. It's not supposed you're not supposed to get crushed or whatever. But to your question, you know, last year I did a bunch, if not all of them, most of them, I would say 90% in the little dip area, whether it was Kirk's side or James's side, whatever was available.
Yes.
I just went for it. I had no real preference. and you see the shows, and I believe, and this is maybe me just being very, very particular or not, I don't really know, but I feel like last year they were playing a lot more for the outside, whereas this year
Yes.
they've been playing more for the snake pit. And then I was being outside feeling like, oh, you know what? I feel like I'm seeing them less and less and less. Like last show, I could get maybe 3 or 4 songs with James in this mic right here or this mic right there, because you measure it like that. You know what I mean? You know, you have the 4 drum kits,
Right.
and then you have the 4 different sets, and that's not gonna change, you know. And you'll see him always from that angle, which again is not great. You know, I'm a Lars's fan, and being outside and watch him from that angle is not something I really enjoy, because he's far. He's far on my,
Yeah.
you know, and I thought, you know, at least I can see everyone all the time by being here. Because if I stand somewhere taller, fucking forget about it. I could not see where they are. And then
You
when
know
I
what would
went
be
into
a-
the snake pit, you can't really see them all the time, you know.
That would be a good idea. I don't know. I'm sure they've thought about this, but earlier, Camilla, you mentioned how maybe they should do like only 250, or they used to only do 250 black tickets or whatever. But like they have plenty of room in the snake pit now that they could do like 250 for
100%. 100%.
Snake pit black tickets.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And there's so much that they could do for us, you know, and I feel like in their heads they're already doing enough. I don't think that they manage all the specifics of how many they go on sale, how many can be bought by Legacy, how many can be bought by Fifth Member. Like the Australian one sold out in 5 minutes within, which is something that nobody saw coming. And it happened like that.
Which is crazy because,
you know,
the US and the Europe one, the first year never sold out. I think they were. I think you could buy like even
price is a big thing too.
Sure.
I guess price tag is massive difference.
Yeah. There's still for the US for next year.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. You can still get I Disappear for. You can still get I Disappear, yeah. But the I Disappear for Australia sold out. And
maybe I should buy my daughters 2 I Disappear passes, and then I could just go to every show and take them with me.
There you
go. I wish. No, we thought about bringing the girls to Chicago, but we're just like,
maybe they're too young still.
I don't know. I think my 8-year-old would be fine. I took her to see Jeff Beck and Johnny Depp.
Oh, nice.
And we were front row, but I'm obsessed with Johnny Depp. That's a whole other story. But
I used to be.
Oh man, so we actually got pulled backstage and we got to meet Johnny Depp. It's a whole thing.
Wow.
Very cool.
But she had a blast. She had a lot of fun. She wants to go to Lincoln Park with me really bad. She loves Lincoln Park. And so I told her I would take her to the Chicago show. So I'm going to take her to that and we'll see how that goes.
Nice.
Let's wrap it up here. What's your plans for the future? What have you got coming up show-wise? Katy, you're doing Just America next year, is that right?
Yeah, as of now, I don't think Australia's so far. I would love to, but no, for now, just America, yeah.
Okay, all right. And for you, V, you got I Disappear tickets for Australia, right? You're going to do shows in US as well?
She's doing US. She's doing US.
Yep. Yeah. And Camila, you're doing all the shows, I'm assuming?
Nah, I am doing all Australia and New Zealand for sure. And I got a black ticket for, I still call it black ticket. I
know, we do too.
America, but pretty much open plan, and depending on my roster and swings, see what I can do here and there.
Yeah.
All that stuff. It's pretty open at the moment, and I'm very last minute always when it comes to going to America.
The black ticket in Australia was $750 Australian,
that's right.
So that converts to about 500. Is it about 500
American.
US? Maybe.
Yeah. It was less.
Yeah, American.
I literally just looked at the credit card bill. It was $453.
Wow.
Imagine on that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Australia, New Zealand has no platform.
All right, girls. Thank you very much for your time. We've gone way over time, and
I could keep
hope
going.
to see you very. Yeah.
We could talk
Well,
about
let's do a part
Metallica all
two,
day
mate.
long.
Yeah. Sure, we could. I hope to see you on our trips to Metallica very soon.
Are you going to
Yes.
America, Craig? You didn't say.
Yeah, are you coming to America, Craig?
It's to be confirmed. I've got my tickets for Australia.
Awesome.
Well, if you do, hope to
Alrighty.
see you. If not, I'll see you in Australia.
Yes.
All right.
So
It'll be
sad.
fun.
Bye, guys.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Talk to you later.
大家好 I'm Bala from Bala Simple Chinese School. If you are a beginner, intermediate, advanced, looking for HSK study, business Chinese, or simply want to improve your everyday communication, I'm the teacher for you. Come and join me for a free travel class at Bala Simple Chinese School.